last week. Got demos from Zoltan. What did we see from Zoltan? I don't remember.
Validation forms.
Validation, beautiful. From Antoine.
Sticky action toolbar.
Sticky. And we talked about zones and things. Dean, what was it? That's the issue with me doing things like this.
It was more zones and things with admin layers.
Antoine, sticky toolbars. And Dean, sorry, what did you say? Oh,
I think the layers.
The what?
Admin layers.
Admin layers. And said
maybe some performance stuff.
That's interesting. Securities wanted to complain about. No, it's just the week before. Okay. I forgot to mention 2 new sites I found. Maybe not new actually, but they are Orchard Core sites. And yeah, I think we might have seen them by the past, but sure. So one was from Slovakia and this one is from Serbia. Like a government website. Lots of content on this one and this one. Slovakia, the lottery thing. It's just a portal to many other lotteries. From what I understand, don't speak very well Slovak. One day, who knows? So just 2 new sites I found today for 2021. Who's got all the demos? Nobody has all the demos. And we've been breaking Soteri's websites, but we haven't seen a demo yet, right?
But yeah, you're breaking.
One day we'll see. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's not the microphone, it's the communication. It's like the bits in the cables don't flow very well. Yeah, will be better at some point, I'm sure. Okay, no demos. Okay, no demos. We'll see what we can show. Then topics, questions. 1-0. So I was about to say the things that never come. Harvest. What else? Websites. We have 5. So Antoine mentioned that this morning on Gitter. We have more than 5,000 stars, which is great, right? I'd rather have 0 star and 5,000 websites to show than 0 websites and 5,000 stars. But that's great. And almost 200 contributors. Almost like 196, something like that. We need to create fake contributors, bot contributors. I'm sure that's the thing. So status update. On to the one, there were some commits. I saw the big logs. So from this branch, which is the next feature upgradable libraries. So updated libraries, okay. Hermes is the new Antoine. On the dev branch, merge one annex into dev, very good, very important to do that continuously. Updated migration for CommonPartRecord and IdentityPartRecord. So fixing some migrations, good. Prevent throwing exceptions when href is null, so the ref exception here. And culture in widgets page. So there is a new culture that is, well, when the widget has a culture, now it's displayed. So that's good. And on the dev branch, fix validation of the localization part, maybe because of the merge. So that's what's new on Orchard 1 from Elena, Hermes, and Matteo, who work for Laser. Orchard Core, what's new since the 13th? Filtering on dev branch. That's a weird icon. To hide, you have to click on the eye. And to show, you have to click on the filter. Brilliant. So, 13. But this one, but this one. And this one. Not this one, this one. Lucene Index Folders Initializer. So it's Jasmine here. Jasmine here. From what I saw later, the goal is to create the index, the Lucene index, when you start the website. For instance, if you, and that might be useful, and Jasmine, you will correct me if I'm wrong, that might be useful if your homepage, for instance, or some page require Lucene searches to display some things. And when you start the site, and if the index is not there, has been cleared or cleaned or something deleted the app data, then you will have no content on the home page. So this thing is creating and populating the index on the tenant startup. That's the idea. Is that right, Jasmine?
Yes. In fact, I think a lot of people ask it so that it works based on the settings that we have in Orchard. So if you create an index, then the folders and the files from Lucene should be there. It should be already populated. And there's also issue from people that were using multiple Docker and Docker containers. Or when you're in Azure and you want to scale your website.
I see. But still use Lucene in a shared folder, a shared volume, for instance, on Docker. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And by the way, there is a PR right now from Senator Gupta. I have that name in mind. That adds Elasticsearch as a module. And I think it's almost ready. I have to check that, but there is pretty good activity in that. Antoine, yep, go ahead.
Yeah. There's just small details on the Elasticsearch PR, which needs to be fixed first, but it's mostly working. It's a good solution if you want to scale search engine in Orchard, because the Lucene branch, the Lucene feature right now is not really scalable. But I had a discussion with Jean-Thierry last week about this, and maybe we could do something with Lucene too. But best solution for now, Elasticsearch.
Yep. Yeah, that's the way it's built for. Yeah, Elasticsearch uses Lucene, but makes it a service. So that's good. .NET Core 3.1.14 update, patches, update 3, like I update it every day with features and, well, bugs that people find. This one, I'm not sure I explained what it was. No, just fix it. fix search page title. And usually when I don't say what it is, because like very minor stuff, like someone found, and we'll probably not have the issue. Fix search page title in agency theme. Yes, so translating the search text. And I think, yeah, so Antoine tried to react to a comment I made that this might be done in a single tag, like search pipe T, instead of defining a variable, but it doesn't actually work because this thing needs multiple arguments. So we can't just say an expression, a filter expression like this. We have to say some arguments, in which case we can't use a filter in arguments like this. So it has to be arguments, which are either literals like this, just a value. Well, they have to be just values like this, or variables. They can't be filter like this. So we need a variable. That's sad, but that's how it works, because page title has more arguments than just something like this. Liquid is not perfect. Lucene Index Initializer deferred task, fixing some issues with the previous PR. Create a liquid widget guide, because since Dean removed the liquid widget and the liquid page types from the default recipes, and it's very common to need that. Dean made a documentation, a guide on how to build it. And sometimes not having a feature but documenting how to use something is better than having a feature and no documentation about it. I'd say most of the time, actually. It's easier to throw a guide and do something, and then you know what you did and you know it's there, than being able to use something but nobody knows that it's there. Implement async methods on TextWriter. There was a bug that I think, yeah, Jean-Philippe mentioned. You will write like something like a media, and you will have the URL, then the src equals something. And it was a timing issue because the write async in the base class is starting a thread to do the thing. So anything that inherits from TextWriter should override the async methods. And it should even be faster. So that's good. So that was a big bug, actually, big issue. It will impact most people, break their site. So got it in time. This one fix Lucene expression, another fix for the Lucene thing on startup. Then use nameof for action name whenever it's possible. So anything that doesn't change like this can use nameof. And even if you change the name of the method and you do a refactoring, then you won't break anything, because unless you stored the URL of the name of the controller somewhere, which you are not supposed to do, you can't break anything. That's why it's fine to use nameof. So Isham did that for every controller, every redirection action. Okay, that's good. Fix widget consistency across themes. Okay. Raw HTML instead of HTML widget. Or maybe it's not the change, but just a diff. No, that's the change. Okay, that's good. Adding docs and recipes, recipe step, more docs. Enable AutoSetup by myself. And I changed it. Did I change it after? No. Did Shantiri change it?
Could you pop back to that dumb docs on the recipes step for just a second there? Yeah, that one. It shouldn't have that execution ID. That's not right. Okay, I'll look at that later.
And someone asked, actually, I saw a Gitter question like, someone mentioned execution ID that maybe it's related to this talk, I don't know, but I saw someone and I said, yeah, you don't need execution ID. And they asked, oh yeah, that was exactly the question. Should I put that or should I use UID? And I said, you don't even need that. It should generate one if you don't say it. So yeah, you don't need the execution ID. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be it shouldn't be the same. It should be unique. So yeah, no, that's exactly it. Yeah, we just need to update that because that should just be from a guide.
Maybe it's an export that confused the documentation.
Maybe. I would have to have a look.
So maybe the export should remove that if it's possible. Okay. Thank you, Dean. Auto setup. So I decided unilaterally to, just for this project, just for the project we ship, to enable auto setup. Okay, and I put it in the startup class, not hidden in the add-on CMS, so that it's obvious that this project is enabling auto setup. This is documented this way, by the way, in documentation. The idea is that if you use our default project and not your own, auto setup is on by default, which means you can use the command line to create and set up the site with one command line. And also create tenants without going through the setup page, which I think is super useful. I don't think it's a risk in any sort. And as long as when you pass your parameters, you pass them correctly, like in environment variable, so you don't store the command line that you run, you don't log it. And I updated the documentation also. So why I did that, I needed it for this change, which is to support for any framework that we would pass on the command line when we run the build or the run. It doesn't change anything from what we do today. It's just, so first, this variable ASP.NET Core Target Framework is changed to default target framework. There's nothing to do with ASP.NET Core. It's the default target framework. Even this one, but I didn't want to change everything because it's all the CS projects have that. So we just say we run on the .NET 5 by default, nothing is specified. And then if you force the list, then we use the value. Otherwise, we will build on .NET 5 and .NET Core 3.1. That's the only thing it changes. And why I did that is such that we can now say .NET build -- framework .NET 6. If we do that, if we do ASP.NET Core Target Frameworks .NET 6, then it will use and build for .NET 6 or whatever version we pass. So these are our defaults, but we also build for .NET 6 if you want to try on .NET 6. And that's .NET 6 PR. And this change is to actually support .NET 6. So what we'll have is that if we run on .NET 6, this is removed. Okay, because it doesn't exist on .NET 6. Remember, there is also another package or API that is deprecated on 6.0. We said we will also remove once we move to .NET 6. It's still there apparently on .NET 6 or with the package we use, so it's fine. This is the only breaking change for .NET 6 for us. And I changed that because in .NET 6, the view compilation is not compiled in different files, but in the same assembly. So this is how we load the views from the same assemblies. And this code handles both. It handles when the view is in a different assembly and when it's the same assembly. So it's totally, there is no custom switch to say it's .NET 6 or whatever. It just works with both solutions. And that's about it, I think. And updating the default template to react to the name change. So that's it. That is to remove the clear such that if you have a NuGet config above your folder, it will still use it. It won't clear all the values. It still add NuGet. And I will go on that. So, and with that, last week, I failed my demo. But now it won't, because I won't have anything to run. I might even have, no, I lost them. We have benchmarks running continuously. There were, well, we have one run. It failed for these runs. I have to check why. This is wrong. But we have numbers here. So we'll get some charts going on as I fix these benchmarks, but we have numbers. So this is a good number. And this is a good number, 12, 5, 18. So what I run on this is, no, that's wrong. That's the new one. Okay, that's the number. This one is the old one. So now I'm running Orchard in the blog recipe on the about page. I take the about page because it's the fastest. It should be the same as the blog post one. Okay, blog post or about is the same thing. There is one content item to load. It has layers and widgets inside. So that's typical from a simple page in Orchard, about page. And it's running using PostgreSQL as a separate machine. And it's running here just on Linux. I don't know why there is a point for Windows. I have to check that. Maybe it was a mistake. I have to check that. But here we have now one run to run, and the result is I see 13.5 thousand requests per second with an average latency of, I just want to pick the Linux one, with an average latency of 2.3 milliseconds. Well, when I read it, it's 2.3 seconds, but that's not what it is. I think it's microseconds here. So I'm pretty sure it's 2 milliseconds. Definitely. It's not 2 seconds average. It's 2 milliseconds. So I have to change that for this chart. It's microseconds here. So it makes 2 milliseconds, which is good. CPU, what do we have? We can track some. When we have more data, we'll see more things, but we can track the allocations, which is very important for us because we allocate a lot. Just to give you an idea of how much we allocate. We allocate 3 gigabytes per second when we are at the max throughput. 3 gigabytes of memory is allocated per second. It's huge, but we are working on it. We need to find out why, and we are working on that. That's interesting also because in green here we have the start time, which is 500 milliseconds. The start time is from the .NET DLL to when the server is ready to accept request. So 500 milliseconds, very fast. And the 6 seconds here is the first request. But the first request in this case is the setup time, because the first request with the auto setup, which I use for this benchmark, will trigger the setup. So to set up the site, it takes 6 seconds. And then the site, well, to start, set up, and answer the first request with the home page or the about page takes a total of 7 seconds. Okay, that's pretty good. The issue is that I don't have any number for a warm startup, meaning if it's already set up, what's the startup time? I don't know. I can't measure that because I'm resetting the thing all the time. That's the only disadvantage of that thing. But that's good. And yeah, and I can run on SQLite, on PostgreSQL, and any page now whenever I want. And I can also benchmark PRs. So when you make a PR, that was the case. With the JSON one here. So Marco made a PR to improve perf and asked me to run the benchmarks. And I just took a snapshot, but it was to show the difference in allocations and GC heap sizes with and without the PR. So this is very easy because I can just point to his repository and his branch, and the benchmark will run and give me the result I can share there. So we track, and we can also compare the perf impact of PRs. So in this case, I think I wanted to show that the Gen 0 went from 10 megabytes to nothing. That's the maximum of Gen 0 allocation, well, size that was committed in memory. And but at the same time, also that's interesting because we see the time in GC, so how much CPU it's taking, but we see it overall the benchmark. So on startup, it takes up to 9%. This is the max here, 9%. This is what we see here. And it goes down to half of it, and then it's 0 after that. So, well, at least it's 0 in this case. There is no more allocation after that because of the pooling of this PR. And before here, well, it was also 0, so there was already some pooling. So this PR doesn't improve on the GC CPU usage in this case. If there is not even a single, you see, this means 1/10 of the max, but when there is nothing, it means 0. That's the idea. So yeah, we can have numbers. That's great. And that's why we made this. Oh, and these benchmarks run on Net 6. So on Net 5, it will be a slightly slower than the numbers we see, because Net 6 had some improvements for free. But that's the idea of the numbers we have. I did a run on different machines where I got at some point 5,000 requests per second, smaller machines like 6 cores, 12 virtual cores. And in the last week, they went up to 7,000 requests per second in PostgreSQL. So that, or maybe from 6 to 7. So yeah, more than 10%, 10 to 20% improvement in the changes we committed last week, which is good. Then fix setup on all databases. I don't recall what issue, but fixing the setup.
There was some issue with turning the document store into a singleton, which was causing some setup issues. I know the problem, but I haven't looked at the solution.
Marco perf optimizations, content write to assess page output. Yeah, so that's the issue with black boxes like this. So ASP.NET, when we have the page, the Razor page, for instance, it has an output property, which is a TextWriter, and we write to it to output to the ASP.NET thing. Like to render our liquid template, we generate it in the page output. But when we do that, the output object is actually a buffered writer that will take whatever we write to it and buffer it and then write it again to the actual response at some point. But what's happening here is Liquid will write every snippet of data, every fragment to this TextWriter, which will duplicate it in memory because it doesn't know if it can reuse it or who owns the data. It doesn't know it can own the data. We allocated the data, so it has to reallocate it. But knowing that, if we look at the implementation of ASP.NET, there is a class named ViewBufferTextWriter, which is the thing that is in the output, that has a custom write object implementation that will check if the object we pass is an HTML content. And if it's an HTML content, then it won't try to allocate anything. It will just keep a reference to it. So what we do here, instead of calling write to from our content to the TextWriter, we ask the TextWriter to write our content. And in this case, our content is on purpose an HTML content. So in this case, it won't reallocate all our fragments. It will just own our content. And then on the actual response body, when it's necessary, call the write to without allocations. And when we write the result of our HTML content, we then clear all caches, well, all buffers in memory. So that's a change to prevent allocations. But we can only do that if we know that it's ASP.NET and what classes they use and what tricks they do to prevent from allocations. So that's why we also added a comment to explain for the next person who wants to update that. Contents GetAsync recall published items. The idea being that when you do some loads with the content manager, if the content items have already been loaded previously in the same request, there is no query that is issued, or just for the items that are missing. By the way, Antoine, there might be an issue here as I'm thinking about it. Maybe not, but here it's, yeah, and that's something I did in SQL for sure, explicitly. That might be important. When we do load async of a list of content items, it retains the order of the content items. So there is some specific code to whatever the order is from the database, we reorder it from the order of the IDs that are passed in the array. So with this change, we need to ensure that we are not losing the order. It might be important. It might be here that if it's done in two different, in one, the set is coming from memory and the set is coming from the query, then there might be an order. So I'm not sure how much we care about that from the content manager, but it was a behavior that was there before. And it's not hard to maintain that, I think. Just see. Upgrade OpenIddict. What, Antoine? How is that, Hicham, we did that? Did beat you?
Because I let Kevin change the OpenIddict package.
It's not Kevin, it's Hicham.
Hicham saw that there was an update, so he made a PR.
Did that. Mm-hmm. MKDocs, but you're back here. Oh, you did that while you were sleeping? Sneaky. So this, I don't know what's fixing, but don't log error if no AutoSetup config session. I assume because of the AutoSetup feature, if you don't provide it, there must be some logging, and it's just checking. If there is nothing, don't try to log anything or to assume that there is some configuration. So removing the log. Fixes LiquidPartViewModel registration. Jean-Philippe mentioned that we could not access some of the properties. So fix that. And when I say some of the properties, it's actually the property of a shape. This one, load items in admin list. Oh boy, this is a line. No, it's not that. Okay, sorry. It's not. Okay, it's not the way I apply. Okay, that's good. Extension methods. Okay, extension methods on the content manager. To call load. So when you do list, it's calling load. Because load will invoke some events, such that you know when your content item is loaded, you can change some things like assign default values or verify stuff. That's the idea, to trigger the events of the token of the content manager when some content items are loaded. And in this case, in the admin controller, where it was not done this way. That's a weird pattern. That's a weird pattern because we might just have a load method that accepts some content items and then invoke the load events on that in the content manager. We have that for the update, for instance. Yeah, I will just have kept this query and then invoked load on the content manager. Personal preference. We'll see what Jean-Thierry does with my comment. APIs GraphQL package. GraphQL or graphical?
Webpack, yeah.
Webpack, not GraphQL.
NPM detected by depend about.
dev auto stash. Oh, that's a different thing I fix later. Dev fix the reference exception for multi-text. Okay. Missing comma in content docs here. And as I mentioned that, Antoine fixed it, but there were other issues like this thing didn't work. Because I tried it and this is wrong and this thing doesn't work. So I'm like, oh boy, nothing works. So let's fix it, which is, I assume I will continue on this commit here, fix content item. So now it's fixed this way. So this is how you get it. Dean changed it a few months ago because there was confusion with alias and alias. These are two different things. There is alias and alias. Now there is handle and alias. So the handle is the way you can reference content items with logical names and not physical IDs. So in this case, you can reference a content item by its alias, which is test, or by its slug, which can be blog post 1. So this is what we call now handle. But if you type alias, it will still work because there is some code that falls back to that. If it finds alias, it will say, okay, you mean handle, fine, but this should be handle. So the documentation is explaining now handle. And this didn't work. So detail is the default. So I remove detail here. I put summary as an example, mention that. Display type didn't work because I made a mistake when I implemented the tag. I called 2 Pascal case dash for each argument. So it will not convert it. It's 2 Pascal case underscore, which takes this thing and converts it to a D uppercase, a T uppercase, and no underscore. So Pascal case display type. Because the shape tag here was looking for this kind of thing. And the big issue was that, even worse, that if you use the content item tag, there will be a Stack Overflow exception because this method will call itself instead of calling the shape tag right to async. So lots of issues here, but now it's fixed. So now this thing should work. That will work, but now it's handled, but content item will work. The confusion was that the user wanted to render a content item like they render a menu. With the menu, we have a menu tag. So, and we can pass an alias. So they tried, instead of menu, to type the content type here, like employee. Now it's not how it works. Menu is a custom shape. And content item has the same behavior. So technically, we could use the content item to render the menu here and say handle menu main, handle alias main menu. Like that. But in the menu, we do some things extra to also render the menu items. So that might not be good. So we have a custom one for menu, but content item is the one you want to use otherwise. Jean-Thierry fixed some things with the buffers we are using here. It was duplicate code. I think it's Marco who found that. So Jean-Thierry fixed it. Optimize some fluid access patterns. Removing 3 value converters for 1 single that has a switch, for everywhere that it has multiple value converters. Just perfect things. Fix arrow direction, because that matters. Based on left to right languages. Fix content item shape, this is what we saw. Fix layer rules import step. Oh, that's the new thing. And code mural 5610, which is better than 5600. Good. Questions? No questions. No demos. No demos. I don't see anything that we could show. Everything is beautiful. Then let's ship it. what is preventing us from shipping 1.0? What is on your mind? Oh, there is one bug I think I tagged to 1.0 because I feel ashamed that we have issues on this matter. Let's see. I didn't. So update branding, there is an update actually on that. Let's look at it. And that's the only, and the issue I filed here. Let me see. The parts one. This one. We have some holes in the content part templating story. It's missing 2 things. So here actually we create a PR. It should not be hard. We have the code. We just have to copy paste it from places in the correct other places. But we are missing some ways to template that. I will assign it for 1.0 because we need to fix it. It's very bad. I don't understand how it didn't show up earlier. Update branding. There is an update on the branding. Where is the update on the branding? There is a new issue.
The PDF.
Okay, everyone, we've put together a new version. We've made a perfect circle version according to Piran's suggestion. A perfect circle version. However, we think that the offbeat circle gives more. Yeah, I like the offbeat version. Yeah, I don't know why we went to a. Let me show you what I mean. Where is your logo? So this is the new one.
You can open the survey, the last link.
It shows it.
There is a visual.
Oh, that's not what I meant. I see. So that's not what I meant. I thought it meant the little comma here we had somewhere. No, what it means is that there is no perfect circle. Yes, this is a perfect circle. You see the borders here. I will zoom. Maybe it will be better. So the width of the circle is the same, and in this case here it's thicker than here. Okay, so yes, they are both nice, honestly. And what is the survey about? Perfect circle, blah blah blah. Changes according to Oliver's suggestion for different color and fonts. Okay, Oliver, what have you done? Too aggressive. B is too aggressive. Okay, and also suggesting some other colors. Oliver, I don't know Oliver, but feedback is always good. So, portrait color branding. Which logo do you prefer? Which color do you prefer? Which type font do you prefer? So logo, we have the thicker and the standard size everywhere. Then we have the colors. I mean, all the colors are great. We could even have, like in Orchard one, we used the greenish one, we use the black one, we use different colors. Right? But here, oh, that would be the standard one. So which colors? Turquoise or green? And which type font? Narrow and round. Form 2, color 2, type 1. Form 2, color 2, type 1. How do we vote? So he said there is a custom feature.
So you can just vote on the survey. And
on the survey, I can.
Just click on it, whichever ones you like.
Oh, so it wasn't, okay, that's a survey. I see. But no, I mean, you will see what I vote for. So I would vote offline because I don't want to influence the community. Because whatever I decide, everyone will vote like me because they just want to please me. So, but yeah, please click on the survey and vote. Can we see the results already or not?
No, you cannot see the result after voting.
Can we trust Paris to tell us what is the actual result and not like what Piedon would tell him to say? Piedon Zoltan.
Yes, we can. Oliver is from Lombiq, actually.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But,
okay. Yeah.
Bertrand wants to know your vote, so he will do the opposite.
Can we vote multiple times? We can. There is no authentication here. It's just, I didn't say anything. Oh boy. So what did they say? They say form 2, type 2, so form 2, color 2, type 1. Form 2, it's B. Okay, 2. So this is the standard one. Color 2. Interesting. Okay. Well, just saying there is that survey we need to. I will give it we'll give it another week because I mean it was updated 2 days ago. I will open the PDF to see. Is there anything else in the PDF that is not in the survey? Oh, it's there. I was waiting for the download to appear on the bottom left, but since today it's there. What? Oh, that was weird, but it's kind of nice. I like it. It's nice. I like it. Much more details here. So there is an arrow. Oh, that's the ticker thing. Yeah, that's in the PDF. It looks super nice. Accompanying the sorry, it's beautiful. Looks nice. I'm like, whatever, do it. It's just better. It's just better with these changes. Whatever happens, it's just better, right, Antoine? Why do you vote there? Are you trying to influence people? I should just delete it. Just vote anonymously on this survey. Oh, that's Oliver who made the survey. I see. Or it's made the PDF. I see. So see that. So Oliver owns the survey and has voted. Can we trust him? I'm not sure. Okay. Saying that. Any questions, comments about that? If you want to influence everyone. Everything's nice. Why should we vote? Harvest. Should we create a harvest for those who are vaccinated somewhere that everyone can travel? So soon we'll be able to meet again somewhere. I don't know where, but that will be hard for some times. Oh my God. We can't even say like next year. We have no idea how the travel will be. New websites, that's a new website I know of. Is there anything you want to share, new sites you've made? Contributions and stars. Where am I? $196 contributors and stars. If I click there, it's funny. Yesterday it was 4999, and this person was the 4999, and now it's not counting anymore. So it's just saying 5,000 plus. I don't know how much if they have increments. So if we will be able to see the, I will take estimate core because I know estimate core.
This one will stay at 5,000 plus, and yeah, this one will be updated.
Ah, okay. So we'll see by increments of 100.
Mm-hmm.
I see. But this one says plus. Okay. So by 100. Good. Oh well, we still have some way to go to reach 22,000 of ASP.NET Core. But by definition, ASP.NET Core can just have more than Orchard, which is built on ASP.NET Core. That's how it works. It's like SQL is only referenced by Orchard. So all the DOM nodes I have for SQL, they are from Orchard. So Orchard will always have more than nodes than SQL by definition. Something like that. That's the idea. Cool. Any topics, any questions? Few minutes. Did I miss anything in the chat? There is something in the chat. Oh, why don't you tell me?
I was thinking maybe a question for Bertrand. I'm not sure if he progressed on the Archer Core Commerce module. Just wanted to see if he.
No, I haven't touched it in a while. I haven't had time for it. I'm sorry. It's still stuck in a state where we have a cart that works, and checkout is basically the next thing. If somebody wants to spend some time on this, that would be absolutely fantastic. Reach out to me and I'll help you in any way I can. Currently, I unfortunately don't have a lot of time for it. I apologize.
Oh, it's fine.
Yes, you should apologize. You were so much.
Yeah, I owe the world this great piece of work, you know. Yeah, of course.
It's like
no, but more seriously, I will help in any way I can. If people have cycles, I'm more than happy to do that. Otherwise, I don't know when is the next period when I'll be able to spend time on this. We'll see.
Can you just get rich and have nothing to do but just writing open source code for fun?
Yeah, I'm thinking about retirement.
Good.
Indeed. But not quite there yet.
Eventually you will. So.
Oh yeah. That will
well,
happen.
I hope so.
I'm very excited about it. And then it will be open source all the time.
Maybe not Orchard anymore. More interesting things.
Yeah, do other things, you know.
So David Hayden made an online store theme, which with what I assume.
Oh, interesting.
So hire David, and then you have a thing. Lots of good stuff. Just mentioning that because I saw that some time ago. Thank you, Rasma, for the topic. Antoine and Bertrand for the
Yes, you were talking about the 1.0 milestone. Are we going to merge PRs like the Lucene Spatial? There are a few one.
If it's ready and it doesn't break anything, we can. Did we try? We can triage it. If let's come with a list of things that we need to look for 1.0 PRs to merge. But
Yeah.
even if they are, maybe if they are broken, that's fine. If they don't break anything else, you know, like if they are. if they don't touch any core components, and there are just new features, it's not risky to accept them.
Maybe Gabor wants to talk about the trade module.
Maybe he doesn't want to talk about the trade module. That's a weird way to. You see, boom, he muted himself. Nope, he didn't want to say anything on it.
Yeah, the current state of the trail module right now is we asked John Thury to finish our trail module, because right now we unfortunately don't have enough time to do that, and he said he can take a look at it and he can finish the remaining issues regarding to the Trail PR.
Thank you. Antoine, why don't you finish the trail module?
I try to finish other modules. I worked a little on the GraphQL to migrate to the latest version. So I worked with Carl Woodhouse on it, but it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, too many updates in the meantime. It's hard. That's good, but yeah, I think we are ready otherwise for 1.0. Everything is working. It's pretty stable. It's fast. It's beautiful. So we should do that. Okay, all done. Then see you on Thursday for triage, and Antoine will come with some PRs to merge, and otherwise on Tuesday for the next meeting. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.